Welcome to Psychic Medium Toni Green. I am Toni Green, the Psychic Medium, here to do a very, very special show. This is actually part 2, dos. That's all I know of foreign languages. Just, if you say anything else to me, I'm gonna kind of go, huh? Huh? Okay, I have some exceptional guests in the studio today that are asking questions, connecting to loved ones up above. Maybe I'll channel, maybe I won't. The suspense. But we are gonna get started right away. Okay, you don't know what we're talking about during the break, so this is where some of this is coming from. Anyway, we're gonna get started right away with questions. Sharon, go right ahead, love.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
I've come out of a very interesting period of time for the last, COVID was interesting for all of us, but for me it brought a lot of horror. And so I'm looking for some answers from beyond because I can't get them here. I work in a very concrete jungle. I deal with numbers, concrete things, I help people with stuff, but I was really overwhelmed with what happened to me a couple years back. Make it real short because it's not a short story, but I wound up getting 2 relatives whom I had not seen in 30 years dropped on my doorstep. And they'd been made homeless by another sister because I come from not good people. So what happened was it was COVID time. I could not find a place to house them. It was pretty bad. So it was a mother and her daughter, my sister and her niece, and my niece. And so subsequently went through a couple horrible years, and then my sister died gruesomely in December. And so when we were cleaning out the apartment that they lived in, my niece, I moved in with us, but my sister had lost her mind. She'd mentally gone bad. It was hard to get services, and I did therapists, and it bankrupts you to do that, but you try to get help. So anyway, we're cleaning up the apartment. I'm the last one there. My brother and my niece had gone home. It was 3 in the morning. I'm trying to write a letter to the landlord saying goodbye, thank you for all your help. I go to leave, and the door won't open. I cannot get out of the apartment. It is not a door that has a tough jam to it. It's a real clean, put-in door. And it took about 2 minutes before I could get the door opened. And I believe that my sister was doing something. Now, I don't go around woo-wooing it, but I have had enough things happen. And I was wondering if there's any, because she was nonverbal and non-decisional, and quite self-destructive at the end, and I was just wondering, I've played that over and over again, and it was about 2 weeks before Christmas this happened, and I just was wondering if you're getting anything, or can get anything about that from her, because our relationship was rough, and she couldn't even talk, really, at the end.
Can I please ask, what was your sister's name?
Her name was Patricia.
Okay, thank you. I really want part of the reason I ask that is because when I say their name, they really pay attention, and if there are other loved ones around, they know exactly whom I'm speaking to, and that brings that person to the front. The first thing Patricia would want to say is, wow, that was interesting. Whatever her personality was while she was here, that's the first thing that she wants to say about the final step in her life when she was not very verbal and not very cognitive. The next thing she would want to say, she did stick the door. Okay. She did stick the door. She did not want to move on, and she did not want to have it be over. Even though it was over, she was, I just keep hearing stuck. She was like so stuck in the heavier energy of this plane. She has since elevated. And she has since transitioned. It took about a month for her to do that, which is a bit of time. But for her full transition took about a month. Typically, as soon as our body is very compromised or will be compromised, we're out of it. We're just like, we hover above it. Can it be fixed? Do I want to go back? Who's up there? Ooh, that's nice. Huh. Sort of thing. If our body is very, very compromised and it's no good, we start elevating up automatically. She was so in the muck, she actually could have left about between 6 and 8 weeks earlier, minimum. She was so stuck in the muck that she couldn't go then, and right afterwards she couldn't go either. When she finally did transition, she could see everything for what it was, and she realized she could have gone earlier. If she could say something to you, the first thing she would say is, I'm sorry and thank you. 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 I didn't realize how bad I was. And you know, when we get sick, I don't care if we have the common cold or a flu or whatever it is, when it starts, we don't think it's that bad. We don't realize it's bad until like we're 3 days in bed with no food, no water, and an immense, we don't realize it. She had no idea how down she had gone. She's very embarrassed for her condition when she passed. She's very, when she looks back now, she's very like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Like, how did I let myself get to that point? But then she's in the ethers, and she knows now it's just a part of the process. And she understands it was a part of her journey here to understand that mentality, why she was here. So sometimes when we come into this existence, we have questions on the other side, and the only way to get the answers to those questions is to experience them either directly or indirectly. You experienced it indirectly, she experienced it directly. One of her questions might have been, how does somebody let themselves get to that point? And now she has an understanding for that, as do you and anybody else who is involved. We're all learning from ourselves and from others at all times. This is a process that we go through daily. No matter what we're doing, we're learning. And when the person passes, the lessons are lifetime lessons, and they continue, because we can look back at loved ones and say, I should have seen it, I should have known, and there's no way we can, not even with the biggest crystal ball, not even, because we're not supposed to until we do. And we can't hold on to that. She understands now fully and wholly that that was part of her journey, and she's actually come to embrace it. And she has evolved from it and has a better understanding of it. As have you. As have you. The one thing she would say to you again is, thank you. And now she says, sorry, not sorry. Because, and I'm giggling and I'm sorry you went through that and I went through that, but I'm not sorry, because it was a part of our process and helped us grow and learn and evolve, and it was exactly what it was supposed to be, whether we think or thought that or not. She is at a point now where she can see it was such a divine, instrumental thing, not only for her, but for anybody else, to take care of yourself before, not after. And she now understands how it can get to that point and what caused it. Make sure you're loving yourself. More than anything in the world, love yourself. First, second, and last. Everybody else, I'm going to say this, and it's so imperative, and people think this is selfish because we've been taught this is selfish. It's the complete opposite of selfishness. The person you should love the most in this world is you. 100%. If every single person loved themselves unconditionally, who they are, what they are, how they look. Look, I love my booty. I love my face. I love my wrinkles. I love it, right? If everybody loved themselves 1,000,000%, what a beautiful world this would be. What a shift this world would have. And I'm going to go one step further, and it might sound, I'm going to sound a little cryptic right now, but if you know, you know. The reason we are taught it's egoic and selfish to love ourselves unconditionally, first, second, and last, is because if we all did that, there would be a great shift. That is the shift. And with that shift, those that have been keeping us unbalanced wouldn't even be recognizable. They would have absolutely no place any longer. In loving ourselves, and there's a difference between I accept who I am, I love who I am, and I'm better than. It's the I am. Who knows about the I am? We all know about the I am. And once we get to that space, everything else falls beautifully into place, beautifully shifts every ounce of this plane that we exist upon. That's what we come here to do. And I will tell you over and over and over and over and over and over again, every being that incarnates here incarnates, their purpose is love, self-love. And once you have unconditional, beautiful self-love, you have other love. Automatically, you can only have for others what you have for yourself. And others can only have for you what they have for them. So if every single person loved themselves unconditionally, with no exception and no comparison, like, I'm happy you are who you are, I love who you are, and I love who I am, and we shouldn't even be close to the same, because we each bring our own uniqueness and beauty and skills and abilities to this plane. This plane would shift into a plane that is almost a replica of heaven. The amount of love, during my last near death, as I was going up, that love, I wasn't even all the way there yet. I was just out of my body. There was no pain. There should have been pain. There should have been physical pain. There was absolutely no pain. It was just like floating in bliss. If every single person loved themselves unconditionally, with no judgment for what anybody else does or who they are or how they live, and you just loved yourself, the shift would have happened. It's yes.
Thank you. I appreciate the input.
You're welcome. I hope that answered your question. I know I went all the way around the world and brought it back to you, I hope.
No, it's helpful. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right,
Gorgeous.
so
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to take you on a little field trip here, kind of piggybacking back on your story. Keep my tears to myself. Apparently, during my lifetime, I've had the experience of coming across those who don't quite love themselves. And it's not evident that they don't love themselves, but when things are revealed to you on people's actions and choices towards you that you might not have been aware of at the time, then you realize the things that they were doing towards you were reflective of them not loving themselves. Now, being in the understanding of that, mind, body, and soul. So I'm gonna say things that they were doing were in the Care Bear lane, and they wasn't sending positive energy toward me. Instead, it was negative energy. Now, that negative energy has, I would say, impacted me on a spiritual plane, which then can manifest itself on a physical plane. So I'm in the hopes of going toward healing to get relief from the manifestations of the spiritual negativity that was sent my way, so I can now enjoy my temple the way God intended me to enjoy my temple. So does that help tell you what I need?
Kind of. I think so. And if it doesn't have, you can be a little bit more direct.
Okay, so I'm experiencing respiratory issues
Okay.
that I've never experienced before. And, I'll get on my little soapbox. The devil is a lie. I don't believe it. I'm like this. I know it's a manifestation of the spiritual nonsense that was sent my way. I'm trying to work through that. But while I work through that, each time I try to do something that I consider in the elevation lane, positivity, moving forward, it wants to rear its ugly head to slow me down, to stop me from getting to that elevation point or that blessing that God has in store for me.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give a broad answer and then a closer answer.
Okay.
And we're going to start with a clearing for self-love and the heart and grief. I'm going to put all three of those together. We're going to heal, clear, release, pull anything that has caused this, kept this, for everybody. Whether they're watching on TV or sitting here, we're going to just heal the heart.
Okay.
Respiratory things can often be in Eastern medicine, in Chinese medicine, anything lungs and heart is grief, sadness, pain, suffering.
Yes.
So as we heal the grief, the sadness, the pain, the suffering, and the trauma, we pull all of that from you. We start to watch those things just go like they never ever existed in your lifetime. It's easy to say let it go. Nobody knows how, because it's something that impacted you so deeply, and you might think you're not holding on to it, but you literally can't. It's in that subconscious, it's in the synapses in the brain. And so we're going to just start to clear that the best we can for the time we have right now. The second part of this is, it's something called cutting. So whenever you think back to someone done someone wrong song, so to say.
Right.
Somebody treated you.
Many of them are neighbors, so every time I step outside my door, I'm looking at the offender.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
So it's a very difficult place to be. The one thing I will say is, when we get into the space where we can completely cut, and the way I'm going to say this is, it sounds so easy, and I know it's not always easy, but it sounds so easy. But if we can say that's their reality, that's not my reality, I'm cutting it now, and almost make them invisible to you. Even when you step outside, you will be amazed at just the difference that makes. Now, here's something a lot of people don't think about. Just because somebody sends you something negative, you can just simply say declined, like an overdrawn credit card.
I'm there now.
Declined.
I'm trying to,
And I get it. At first, it's very difficult, and I know going through certain things, it can seem impossible. Energy is a thing. If somebody sends negative energy, you may feel it. And if you're sensitive, you will feel it. You have to get to that space where you're strong. But if you're in a space where you're still suffering from trauma and grief, if this isn't strong, and if this isn't strong, your security, your safety isn't feel strong, you're not going to be strong enough to let things bounce off of you, so to say. What I will say is within 6 months, it will be completely done. Stopped, no more, never again, within 6 months. And I'm actually hearing June.
okay.
And I know that might seem like a bit of time, but we're at what, March?
3
April,
months.
May, June, yeah, 3, very good. My public school education is shining through. Woo-hoo. With it, I feel like in June, you're gonna have like such a night and day change, but then after that, it'll just get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
I think something might be coming in June that's going to give you more power, safety, security, help you to feel stronger. And from there, you'll be able to build, okay? And you may even know about what's coming in possibly in May, but I feel like it may be something in June for you, okay?
Thank you.
You're so welcome, love.
Wow. Okay. First of all, we are not going to be talking about my own weight, so so no. So the serious questions that I do have is,
Sweetie, you are a bundle of voluptuous joy. You don't even bring that up. Never think of that as I'm going to say this. If all
Yes.
M&Ms were yellow, how boring would they be? How boring would they be? No, you are perfect. Don't even. Now go ahead. What's your question?
thank you. The first serious question is, what is so special about the heart chakra, and why is it so important for the world to hone in on that and to heal that?
Okay, that's really a good question. I hope I can give the answer justice. Because we are love. We are nothing other than love. And a lot of people don't understand that. We are energetic beings. If you took a big enough microscope, you could see right through your skin. You would see you're an energetic being. Your heart chakra determines the frequency of your energy. So if your heart, if you love unconditionally yourself, if you are in a space of happiness and joy, this is going to be very powerful. And when this is very powerful, your frequency rises. And when your frequency rises, everything you want in the world comes to you. So on a physical level, that is why it's very important. But even on just a self level, when your heart chakra, when your love is solid and you love yourself, your body cannot be at war with itself. It's when we have inner conflict about things that have happened in the past that nobody except for us is thinking about any longer, except for maybe a thought. No. Okay, never mind, sorry. And that's what that is. But if you are in such a place of love and there's no inner conflict, no feeling bad about A, B, or C, no guilt, no judgment, there is not a cell in your body that can be at war. You will not age the way people do. You will not get ill the way people do. You will not feel depression the way people do. You will not need outside sources or things to medicate, cope in some way to make you happy, to escape. Now, many of us have that not to escape or to make us happy, but just recreationally. But when our heart is healed and in that space of joy and love, especially for ourselves, because whatever, I don't care what it is, whatever we have for ourselves is what we give to the world. So if we have love, we're giving that. If we are angry, we're giving that. If we are sad, we're giving that. And in a day, it can go from love to anger. Watch somebody cut you off. You can be the most loving person in the world. Somebody cuts you off and puts a moment of fear in you, and you know every swear word in the world, even in other languages. You're calling people names that would make a sailor blush. But we can go up and down. But the idea is to bring it back to base as quickly as possible and to be in that space of love. If whatever is in us is what we're putting out, if it's insecurity, if it's fear, if it's whatever it is, anything, then what we want to do, and everything always starts within us. The first thing we let go of is any and all judgment, because everything comes from fear and judgment. And a lot of things come from being fearful of being judged. Yeah, right? So we do something and we're right away terrified or think about, what are other people going to think? What are they going to say? How are they going to react? Did I do this good enough? Did they enjoy it? From the way we get out of bed to what we wear to our golf game to whatever it is, the way we cooked for the family. So if we can let go of judgment, and all judgment, believe it or not, is self-judgment. Everything we judge starts first in ourself. We've judged ourself, and then we project it out. So if we can let go of that judgment, knowing we are exactly who we're supposed to be, we're here in perfect timing, with perfect timing, in the perfect way that we are supposed to show up. We're not supposed to be more. We're not supposed to be less. We're here as we are for a reason. The fear will go away. At least a lot of it will go away. And then you're left with love. And when you're left with love and in a space of love, everything changes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your beautiful questions. I love each and every one of you so much.